Node.js and Lewis. Well, congratulations. Enjoy that. Best of luck with that. Good morning, Lannon. And Lannon, we need to get back on Twitter here and nail down when we're going to do our pair programming stream. Anyone installed the latest Visual Studio patch have issues with NuGet Package Manager blowing up for Core 2.1 projects? Which Visual Studio patch are you referring to? 2017 or 2019, Simon? I haven't had a problem with it on 2017. I haven't tried 2019 yet. Maybe you noticed I still have some leftover color here. Thursday, let's do a little recap of the week. Thursday I was in Redmond. I was at our Channel 9 studios, Microsoft's Channel 9 studios, and we did a pair programming session with Allison Buchholz, and we showed you some of the cool things coming in Visual Studio 2019. We showed you some of the cool plugins and features of IntelliCode that you can get right now in Visual Studio 2017. And I've brought and made that IntelliCode model available for our Stream Deck plugin project that we've been working on. We'll take a look at that in just a little bit. Looks like I just have Road Rash. I know, it's faded. But Thursday I paid up. I made good on my promise for the rainbow beard, and we went very Visual Studio themed. We had purple over here, blue. The blue's still doing pretty good, and then orange in the middle, right? Because Visual Studio 2017 and 2019, all of those have a purple theme. Visual Studio Code, of course, is blue. And then we did orange because that's what color everything turns in debug mode. Yeah. Also, no, I didn't add white. My beard is gray. Stop it, Frank. Stop it. So, let's do a live share dojo. Let's take some of those discussions offline. Let's take them into a whisper, into a private message. I see you're excited, and that's great. Let's take that off to the side here. I want to focus on my show today. Let's see here. So, looking forward to the code pairing session. Yes, I think we're going to have fun with that. We had a couple interesting ideas we were talking about. But regarding this, and I'm going to wash it out today. This is the last day you'll see it here. Just put down his Switch to watch. Oh, thank you. Great to see you out there. Thanks for watching. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. And I think we're going to update this. And I think I'm going to update the goal to Rainbow Beard Build. Microsoft Build is... There is a scheduled date for it. It's going to be sometime in May. That's all I can tell you at this point. I have some idea what the dates are, but it will be in May. I can tell you that. And according to socialblade.com, check out Socialblade. They do a great job here of forecasting when people will hit different milestones. They'll also show you the history of folks, not just on Twitch, but YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the social networks. If you scroll down here, in June, we should hit about 7,500. And if I look at the followers projection here in 2 months, in March, we should hit just under 6,000. And at the end of May, we should hit 7,100. If we hit 7,000 before Build in May, I will do the Rainbow Beard for Build. Okay? So... MVPs, future prospective build attendees. Help us put a little bit of promotion out there, and we will do the Rainbow Beard again in person at Build. Shout out to Ethan, the Future Geek. Hey, Ethan, great to see you. Thanks for watching the show today. We're really happy to see you here, and we're gonna have a lot of fun today. Okay.
Wait, Master. It might be dangerous.
It's not dangerous. It's okay. You're there watching with your dad, and I know you're going to have a good time watching together. We're going to learn something, all right? So, Rainbow Beard V2 hype. Oh. Did I have a chance to look at the PR that Brave Cobra made for Core Wiki Docs? I have not. I have not looked at that. Let me finish my little recap here, and we'll take a look-see, and we'll go around the horn and get to the project we want to work on today. Please recap what I did with Brady. Yes. So let me finish going around the horn and recap the week here. Glad to hear it, Ethan. Good. Thanks so much for watching. And I see what you're doing there. Put the switch down. Back away from the television. Sit down and relax. Grab a nice beverage there. Something fun to drink. We're gonna have great fun together today. Now, I wanted to share a couple blog posts and some other things from this weekend. Absolutely, I'm going to recap what we did with Brady. You're having bandwidth issues, says Carrie. Let's see here. Quality. Ooh, I'm only at high res today. We might have a fix for that coming soon. Let me zoom out here a little bit. Hey, there we go. I put up a blog post this week because I was really excited and I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the advanced configuration that I use for my streaming here. I use an audio mixer like this one. Actually, it is this one. This is the Mackie Pro FX 8. So this is an 8-channel audio mixer, and you can see all my audio cables coming in to this, and then pumps out and helps produce what you see here. Whether it's this microphone that I'm speaking on, or it's sound effects, or maybe it's even something else. We've got it all wired in and coming through the mixer here, and we're doing some really fun things with it. But I've only got 2 feeds coming in, right? I've got my mic coming in here on channel 1, and I've got my PC audio here coming in on what's labeled channel 3, 4. Now, for those of you that might be audio engineers, you're looking at this and thinking, my gosh, that's really simple, because my mic only comes out on this auxiliary. This is my monitor, right? In audio parlance, you'll hear folks refer to the monitor. That's the on-stage monitor that you might see at a concert. But I'm using this to feed back just my microphone, and the monitor volume control is here, and that gets sent out over this cable, and I use it for talking on Skype to folks, or Teams, or Zoom, whatever your favorite might be. Mic is mono, computer is stereo, hence 3/4 channels. Well, it's left-right, and you can do balanced, unbalanced, and you can pan left and right. But the mic actually this is stereo. I can pan it left and right if I want. The monitor, though, is, yeah, it does depend on the mic and channel and cable. Yep. PTT ping. PTT? What's PTT? CoreWiki hasn't been looked at for a while. Yeah, we've had a couple of interesting projects we've been hammering around. But we'll take a look. We'll get back over there. So, and what I'm using now, I ordered a brand new cable because I figured something out, and my monitor going back now is, it is a balanced single cable, right? So I don't have the left right like I do here for the PC audio, where I split it into individual left and right channels. So I ordered a new, and you can read all about how my configuration is here. And then I really only have one bit coming in here, the mixer, into OBS. But I added another cable here that actually comes off of my display. Now check this out. HDMI cables carry audio. Yeah. So my display that I have in front of me that I'm looking at, hello, has a speakers jack on the back of it. So if I route my audio from my guests who are on Skype or Zoom or Teams or whatever if I specifically route them into my display, I can take that off the display using that speaker cable and put it here into channel 5.6. Now I can set their level independently and isolate it and send out all my system sounds back through the monitor. You can see the aux level is set here. So that was pretty cool. I was so glad that I could use that. And send data back, send audio back now to folks who are on. That also means that I can bring in and isolate sounds on channel 5, 6 and not send it as well, right? Or I can do some interesting things there, like maybe use a second mic and send it back 156 for everybody to hear. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, the second output from the PC could also be done with a USB sound card. Yes, it could be. I don't have one, and I'm actually using my USB jack coming out of the mixer and going into the PC. Yeah, sorry about that. The resolution, that is it. I did not get the transcoders today, and we should hear something about that hopefully this week. I did submit a partner application. It'll be 2 weeks today. My numbers are looking real good. I'm so glad everybody is here, and we should hear something. I'm excited to hear about that. Yeah, the start of a singing career, I need the auto-tune in order to be able to sing. So I was really happy I got the new cable in, and I'm able to do fun things now with the sound effects because I've got the extra there. Don't need the colons there, Lee. You can just type C# bot in that capitalization, and it'll go out there. That is not Skype audio. That is all computer sound, and I'm using an app from VoiceMod. There it is. And they've got tons and tons of different sound effects out here. So I actually even set up the echo. So that you can hear me in this cavernous studio. So we'll have lots of fun with that in the days and weeks ahead. It is an auto-tune, absolutely. Some of the new gen headphones do a similar thing with USB, showing in Windows as 2 sound cards. Ooh, okay. My blog is just WordPress right now. Sound like I'm in a kid's toy store. So we'll play with that a little bit more. Get you out of the cave. No, I like being here. A lot better. My blog is just WordPress. I have a rebuild that will run on ASP.NET Core using Peach Pie. I need to get that locked down and redeployed, but it's going to take a little bit of final configuration and tuning to get that out there. I think I've got it. I just need to refocus on it, and a couple of other tasks have taken my attention. So there's what's going on with the blog. Let me jump over to GitHub before I get into some of these other some of the other things that are going on. Let's take a look at this CoreWiki item, and then I'll talk about the other project that we worked on with Brady on Friday. All right, so here's CoreWiki. 54 issues hanging out there. CoreWiki is a very simple, it's intended to be a simple ASP.NET Core Wiki. It's a content management system that you can use to build and host a simple wiki with authentication and the ability to build and have articles out there that have versioning with a really nice diff system out there. So if you go to corewiki.info, this will be the live version, the deployed version of the website that's hanging out there, and anybody can check out and comment on. Hey, Aaron, good to see you. If anyone is after a USB sound card, you can recommend the Scarlett stuff. That's interesting. Okay. Now, I'm not particularly looking for a USB sound card, but you can see people out here writing all kinds of comments, tests, and yes, that's very nice. So your cookie policy would go up here. That's fine. And then you can search. That works. Latest changes. There's only one page here. But we should add some more demo content out here so that folks can see and use it. Anyone know of a way to send screen plus webcam over Skype? OBS Virtual Cam plugin. Haven't tried that. What I like to do, Yoda, is I'll use OBS with the NDI plugin, and you can actually configure OBS then to use NDI. Right, that's NewTek's data protocol to send your output from OBS out as a virtual camera. Excuse me, as a virtual camera, and then you can choose that in Skype, and it works great. MS Teams does screen plus cam nicely. Yes, it does. If you want to do something more compelling, a layout like this, you can do something with OBS. And the NDI is really good. We used a lot of NDI when I was set up at Channel 9 this week. So let me come back over here. Let's look at the pull requests. So we had an update for Cake in the .NET Core SDK. That didn't build properly. I'm not sure why. Let's see. What do we have here? Apparently, Ricardo Nipel created an easy-to-generate C4 models using Plant UML in VS Code, so I've updated the model that is currently in CoreWiki. Although the images are already exported in this PR, you can update those images now by editing the PUML files. Nice. These are in the Plant UML syntax to regenerate the images based on the files. Install the extension for VS Code, edit the files if wanted needed, right-click the workspace, and hit Edit Export Workspace Diagrams. Oh, that's very cool. 30's files changed. That's a lot of files. But these are, yeah, these are new images for the documentation that show how this all works together. That's very cool. And I'm seeing this is all in the docs folder. Fantastic. I'm going to merge this. Brave Cobra is a longtime contributor here on the stream, so I trust they're all working very nice. So I am going to confirm. Very cool. Thank you very much, Brave Cobra. So if I go up here and we click into the docs folder, so C4 models, architecture. If I click down into the C4 models, there's a nice README here. So you can click in and see exactly how all the pieces fit together here. That is extremely helpful, and I love having this level of documentation because the project has grown a little bit from something that's a simple demo. Now it demonstrates a little bit of architecture complexity that I think folks need a diagram to understand better. Great contribution there, Brave Cobra. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Points to you. Had to tether to your phone. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. There's an opportunity for Lucene. Yes. Just set up Twitch on your Xbox so you can watch the stream while sipping coffee on the couch. Yes. That's a great way to do it. Hey, Hugo. Hello, hello. We've got some interesting things to discuss. So, we started talking with our friend. I'm going to bop over here first. We started talking with our friend Brady Gaster. And Brady is a program manager who's in charge of SignalR on the ASP.NET team. He also is, he develops with .NET on Mac first. In the library, the project that we're currently working on here on stream is a toolkit, is a series of plugins to help folks build plugins for the Elgato Stream Deck. And what we see, what we saw from Brady was there's some things that aren't quite in balance properly for Mac developers, and he's trying to improve that experience. So we went through and we spent some time trying to improve and get that a little bit more up to speed. We hit some bumps in the road around identifying runtime identifiers and getting it working properly when you build on Windows or you build on Mac, so that you get the appropriate executable coming out of the build process and available for folks to use. So we actually had, and Hugo sent this over, the ability for debug, and you'll see there's a lot more going on here, to specify the runtime identifiers as you're building here. So when we look at what's happening, normally you add in .NET parlance, right? In the .NET project file, we put these conditions around the runtime identifier. Which operating system are you compiling for? Now this is XML, so inside of our project file, we have this tag runtime identifier, and you see by default it used to just say Windows 10. Windows 10 64-bit, and there it is. But if you're compiling on a Mac, we want to be able to say, well, run on OS X, run on Mac. And we added the plural one here that says, well, runtime identifiers, Windows x64 or OS X 64. That way you could kind of pivot between the two. The challenge then is when you build on your system, you need to actually say, well, build on, and then my operating system, which is weird, right? Because I'm on my operating system, build for my operating system by default. This is where I am. And for a debug experience, that's kind of weird. So I reached out on Twitter and I said, hey, anybody have any comments, any insight on this? Coding Bandit, there's Carrie Payette there in the chat room. Thanks so much. She chimed in and said, well, in debug mode, it will actually, the Stream Deck will run if you say .NET, whatever the plugin name is. That's interesting. But our friend and ASP.NET Core contributor, Ben Adams, chimed in and said, well, why don't you just put those conditionals around it? And he's the one who recommended putting not just runtime identifiers down here. So Hugo came through and said, well, okay, if the runtime identifier is Windows and you're in debug mode, force it to Windows. And if the OS is not Windows and we're in debug mode, force it to Mac OS X. Let me back up here. Here's the change that Ben suggested. Make sure that you only do both runtime identifiers when we're in release mode. And this is where I think it's interesting. Because now when we're building, and we're building for release, we could say build and output for both operating systems so that we can compile that up and have one Stream Deck plugin that works for both. Garahorn, thanks so much for the follow. Steve, we can't hear you. Steve. I need to really unify here on whether I'm using Streamlabs or Stream Elements. And I talked to some of our friends at Stream Elements. They have some features. Wrong, Steve. And there, it refreshed my chat window again. They have some features coming soon that I'm really excited about and are causing me to say, yes, I need to get over on Stream Elements. Let's bump Steve's volume up here a little bit. When I have a guest, I don't want to have our followers' announcement being too loud and distracting from them. But when it's just me, go ahead, override, be loud, be proud out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. There we go. That's just a test, but that's not right. Sound volume, make it a little bit louder for a host. There we go. All right, let's get back to this. Good, everything's good. Dawned on you last night, that was the one part I had to disconnect on, the conditional and the plural. Yes. To get the debug build for the other OS, you'll need to go to the other OS and build it there. Yes and no. Yes, you will with this configuration. Excuse me. But I think we might be able to do some things to write a script to help pivot this. But the default configuration, I think this is what we want. Yeah. But Lee says, thought to amend the to script, but this is better. Actually, so looking at my guests that are coming up in the weeks ahead, Thursday, I hope you'd come back and join me Thursday. John Montgomery from Microsoft. He's the general manager of .NET and Visual Studio. He's going to talk to us about interviewing software developers and the new interview process that Microsoft uses that isn't go up to the whiteboard and show me how to write algorithm XYZ. No. We're going to talk about how to interview software developers and how to develop a career in this industry. And then the week after that, we're going to have, I'm going to say his name wrong. We're going to have, let me find it. I want to make sure I pronounce it right. We're going to have Tyler from the PowerShell team join us, Tyler Leonhardt. And we're going to actually make sure that we get our PowerShell script here cleaned up, a little bit more PowerShell friendly, use some of the things that the team recommends, and we will get that working for both Mac and Windows. So that's going to be exciting. That'll be the first week of February. I have another guest booked for the 21st, Thursday. That's when we'll see John Montgomery. Every Thursday is when we have guests. And I'm working on a couple more guests for February. The third week of February, February 21st. I need to make sure I get the confirmation, but I have somebody joining us that day that is going to be very interesting to talk to. So, nobody overly famous, but somebody that I think is going to be really great for us to talk to. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Didn't help that you muddied the waters with PRs 56 and 57. Yeah, it's okay. Stuff happens. So this is going to make it really easy for us to build and debug on our own systems here. I'm going to merge this because this looks really, really good. So, yeah, squash and merge. There we go. Thank you for this. It will make it easier to build on both Windows and Mac. Let's make sure we thank both Hugo and Ben. Fantastic. So now if right, so that was merged into dev. So this should now build and be available over here on Azure Pipeline. So I merged in changes to our README for this. No Linux support? Well, here's the thing, Brave Cobra. The Stream Deck doesn't work on Linux. So, no, I can't. Right. Let's see. I was once interviewed at Microsoft early in my career, says Auth0 Bobby. The interviewer opened Visual Studio, pointed at it, and asked me how I would write it. That's not cool. Though with Kari's emulator, we could develop on Linux. Yes, we could. Well, without a runtime identifier, you can build and we might be able to do something with that. I wanted to show you what the changes I made over here, and then we're going to go over and take a look at the pipeline. I lined up our pills here. I merged in documentation that was suggested for the README here, so that you can see all the cool things about how to use the template, how to get started. Good morning, Nidens. Old school interviewing, and you're going to see new school interviewing at Microsoft is much, much different. But now these pills will jump you through and show you what's going on over on Azure DevOps. So if I click through, you can see here's that latest build. If I click back to Stream Deck CI, you can see it's building right now, right here. And I've added unit tests into the mix. There's a .NET test there. And if we click into that, you can see it ran the tests. And that first test that we have out there was suggested, submitted, and all it does right now is make sure that the format of the incoming arguments is proper. We do have a test, and it passed. One test. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And why we might need, and Simon picked up on this and I think makes a very good point here. We might need to remove tight coupling to unmanaged resources, such as WebSockets, while we're building and testing, because when we're testing on our continuous integration solution out there on Azure DevOps, or if you were building and testing on Jenkins or TeamCity or somewhere else, you want to swap in something that behaves like WebSockets, right? You do something similar when you're building and you're using a database. You want to make sure that you appropriately remove those unmanaged resources so you can verify that it works properly when you're on that automated system and you can't connect out and verify against some of these other things. Shut the front door. Yeah. Not 100% coverage. No. 100% pass percentage. Now, what's interesting is I thought we had it outputting code coverage, and it isn't reporting code coverage here. That's weird. Let's see here. Don't need this. So let me come to this one in just a second. No, let's do this one now. Let me do these two now. So the other project that we have that's hanging out there, folks suggested, maybe a separate build config. Let me touch on that, Simon, in just a second. I think that might be much simpler. So our friend Carrie Payette, the coding bandit, there you go, you can see her there. She submitted this idea for a Stream Deck emulator. So if you don't have the hardware, you don't have a way to connect and emulate the button presses that come from the device, but you still want to build a plugin, you need something to emulate that interaction. So what do? I'm going to back up and look at the chat room here. 8-hour interview at Milliman. Oh my gosh. Sat down with the dev and pair programmed. You're going to hear from John. That's a little bit of what Microsoft does now. And you got the gig. Congratulations. Now that we have runtime identifier changes in, we'll need to update the Azure pipeline for release. Well, let's take a look-see here real quick. So when it does... you're right. When we do a release... No. Ah. So let me back up and let's go look at this. Code coverage doesn't tell you everything works. It does not. It tells you that it behaves as expected. It behaves according to whatever specification our code says. An 8-hour pair programming interview sounds like free labor. So does open source, actually. Wasn't a fan of pair programming until I tried it. Big fan now. Hey, very cool. Thanks so much. It is pretty cool. And this is more like mob programming here. And when I get back into our code here, I'm actually going to open up, I'll open up Live Share and we can all jump in there. There's going to be, unfortunately, a lot of logic overlapping between C# for any mocks for unit testing and the node code. So let's, okay, let me back up. Let me talk about building for release versus debug here on Azure DevOps. And I was talking actually to Scott Hunter, right? He's the director in charge of all things .NET at Microsoft. And what's interesting when you look at the work that we've been doing for the Stream Deck is we've actually been wrapping a lot of .NET and Microsoft love around the product. Between Azure DevOps, between Visual Studio, between .NET templates, C# capabilities, it's really enabling. You're right. I've been talking to Scott! Hunter. That's Scott. You know what? I should have a Scott command. Oh my gosh, Hugo, that's a great idea. Can somebody open an issue in the Stream Tools repository? We need a Scott command that makes that announcement. But Attention should also do that. And I also need a quick issue command too. Yeah, Lee, that's a good one. A command that screams when I get tweeted. There's actually a plugin that folks have that does that, and it'll bring the tweet in on the side of the screen. Oh, thank you, Latte. I appreciate the tweet there. Yeah, I should definitely do something like that. Need to put a big cooldown on a Scott command. Yes, absolutely. And some folks in the creative community have done some crazy things with that. Let me address the debug release, right? My gosh, this stream is nothing but ADHD for a crack for ADHD sufferers. So debug versus release, that you saw that in the not this one, in the toolkit, right? We did the debug versus release here. Now, what I want to point out is this is for sample plugin. We're not actually building the sample plugin on Azure DevOps. This is right. Remember, sample plugin is our canonical example of how to use the library that we're building. So this code that was suggested here is what I think should be suggested and ported over to the next version of the template that we're building. So when you say .NET New Stream Deck plugin, you'll get this configuration, which will then be available to make plugins very easy with that tight inner loop that you heard us talk about with Brady. We want the tight inner loop where when you're in Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code and you press F5, build and debug, we want it to compile, deploy, and attach the debugger so that you can actually use the app as designed. In this case, with the Stream Deck, when you compile and debug, we want it to make it available so that you can, right, there's my test plugin right there, so that you can attach to the Stream Deck, press that button, and see what happens. Step through your debugger, and as a developer, explore exactly what happens. That's the tight inner loop we talk about. Now, Brady also taught us about the outer loop, and that's the concern Hugo had there, is the outer loop is when we get over to DevOps, when we get to our continuous integration system. When we want to build and deploy that, how do we make sure that we build and release properly? Now, maybe there's a point where we have a release script that comes along with the project that does things like build in release mode, target both operating systems that we want to, and executes the Elgato packaging app. There's a little packaging app that'll compress up everything that we need for the plugin and put it into a Stream Deck plugin file format so that we can upload it, we can submit it so that it appears as another plugin here in the Stream Deck store. Very cool stuff. So there's a couple steps there to the publish process in that outer loop that, yes, we need to get to. Anyone know a good API book to read, like error managing? No, I don't. I don't have one to recommend. Glenn Block had a great one. Let me see if I can... Glenn Block API. He had a great web API book, designing evolvable web APIs with ASP.NET. ASP.NET Web API, designing evolvable. Check this out from Glenn Block. Glenn's a great friend. We've tried to have him on the show, and we've just misconnected here a couple times. But check out Glenn's book out here, and that'll get you in the right place. All right, so that's about the inner loop and the outer loop. And we now have builds deploying and going all the way out. And I don't have this merged up to master, so it won't deploy to NuGet yet. And I don't want to do that yet until we finish migrating things from sample plugin into our template so that the template behaves better. Are those axolotls? I don't know what that is. No. Nachos for All says there's a book called Release It that isn't about APIs, but talks about everything needed to keep things running well in production. Oh, very cool. Oh, that reminds me. I was on the Confessions of the Angry Programmer podcast this week. That's not it. I think this is it. There we go. How to tell your open source projects are done. This is me. So check this out. If you want to hear more from me, there was a podcast that we recorded after last week's show, and I recognize that guy. And we talked about projects being done, being in maintenance. What do those things mean? Check that out and I posted the link there. Nachos for All, thank you so much. Oh no, actually, Crows, thank you for gifting that sub to Nachos for All. That's really cool. Thank you so much for that, for gifting that along. And we'll make a donation to Black Girls Code. I am thrilled with all the subs and cheering activity this month. We're going to be making a nice donation to Black Girls Code. Very cool. One of us, yes. So now Nachos for All, you're going to get to use that .NET bot emote everywhere here on Twitch. So get lousy with it everywhere. What do we have here? It could be helpful to come by the opportunity to look at it. Showing how to pass details between Azure pipelines would be most helpful. All right. Journey started. Where's Journey started? I don't deal with Windows updates. No. And I'm not too thrilled Journey started with knocking down some of those folks. And I don't have any insight on testing and releasing Windows. There is a ton. I can tell you that the Windows release process is not trivial. That I do know, that there's a lot of folks that get really stressed about that. But I do not want to talk about that only because I do not have insight into that. Hey, Binary Chef. Well, thanks for joining us. Does the webhook that is passed that activates on subs pass in if the sub is a gift sub? No, I don't think it does on. Let me see here. If it's a community gift, it will tell me. When an anonymous user gifts a subscription, it doesn't say, oh, yeah, when subscription is a gift, we could do something different. Streamlabs does support that, but I want to start looking at migrating my things, my animations here over to Stream Elements. There's some interesting things that the Stream Elements folks are doing, and I want to help them out. There's some really neat ideas that we're going to work on together over there, and to integrate and give them some new features. I've tried to have a couple conversations with folks at Streamlabs, and they haven't been too responsive. Nachos gifted a sub to Simon. Thank you so much for gifting that. I appreciate that. And Simon, you're going to get a purple mug indicator next to you, and you're going to be able to use that .NET bot everywhere here on Twitch. Thank you so much. Don't want to spoil my fun. Have fun figuring it out. Thank you, Latte Mote. We'll figure it out. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get away from that a little bit later. There's some interesting things coming in Stream Elements. The conversations that I've had, at least hearing about the roadmap, are amazing. Yeah. So it has gotten in the way, but I have seen that they're working that out. So, but we will make another donation to Black Girls Code this quarter. Thanks so much, everybody. Very cool. All right, let me get back into this. So, where we pivoted and ran off the rails there. So Derek and Carrie put together some updates for, this is our Node.js based emulator that emulates how the Stream Deck behaves. So even anybody out there can build, even if you don't have the hardware, can build and test a plugin. So what Carrie wrote here was hookups so that it will notify you about all these different events and color code those events when they're received. So that is really, really cool. To have a console that says, here's exactly what happened as a developer, to get that type of feedback from my environment is just amazing, and it makes me feel like
it just works. That's all I ask for. I'm not some evil overlord. Just make it work.
And it does. And Carrie put that together, and it just does the job. Terrific. So let's merge this. And I'm really, and Carrie's done a great job putting this together. I've made her one of the collaborators, one of the administrators over here on this project. Carrie and I are long time colleagues, going way back. I trust her insight and her input on this stuff. I'm thrilled that she's helping us out here. And really, doing a great job of putting together a tool that's going to make it real easy for folks to contribute and work with our project here. So, a big applause for Carrie. Thank you so much. Yeah. So that actually merged in Derek's changes as well. So what Derek did was use the path module to generate the path to the manifest. Standardized on constant let, added in platform EXEs appropriately in the configuration, and added a VS Code launch JSON. Really, really good stuff. So, this is growing nicely. You're going to have to pull down and run the code individually. Yeah, thank you, Landon, for the applause there. Absolutely. And we're getting... It wasn't too far off when you referred to me as... Hang on, let me do that again.
Your lord and master.
Not bad, eh? Not bad? So, a due release upgrade is regularly brokered for WSL for seemingly stupid, unreasonable reasons. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's not I can do. Yes, clip it. Go for it. Make that. Go ahead and send that out to the Twitters. But I think looking at this, what I'd like to do for the Stream Deck emulator is I'd like to put together another pipeline that will build an NPM package for this. I think we're almost there. Is that Roland? Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Steve, you need to get busy there. We need to get this number here to 7,000, Steve, okay? You're going to get a little sweaty. All right? Be ready. So, let's see here. I won't give up your day job to become a full-time Darth Vader yet.
I think this sounds a little more Darth Vader-ish, right?
Don't fall down the hole.
I think that's a lot of fun. Oh, please do the NPM thing on a stream. That'd be very interesting to see. NPM package would be nice for it as an optional dev dependency. Shiny. Yeah. Perhaps work a bit more on the asthmatic breathing. Ooh. Well, see, I've got a pop filter here. You really want to go after these clips here today, don't you, Brave Cobra? We can do this. All right, let's see what we can do here. Let me.
I am your father.
Oh my gosh, the timing with the music. Ta-da!
All right, I'm having way too much fun with the voice modulator today. That breathing sound is when you're compiling the Lord and Masters after the build pipeline. don't know. Maybe. That's a hard no. What do we got here? What do we got here? Now we need a robot. So let me throw one more thing out there. Let me see if I can remember. What was the name of the bot? The bot that Fairy Wings uses. Shoot, I can't remember it. There's a group that makes a bot out there. It's like a little pet that hangs out in stream. I want to see if I can commission them to make the .NET bot as a little pet, and we can wire up some of that stuff. Sounded like it was from the Main Street Electrical Parade. Capomon, thank you, Bite Size Mira. Right, was that it? Yeah, Capomon. This is really neat. So Fairy Wings has... go ahead, sign in with Twitch. There I am. It has this really neat bot, right? These are little... they almost look like office assistants. I would love to get one of these, commission one for the .NET bot. That's kind of close. But I would love to get our little .NET bot and make it available, or make it my personal one, and have it hang out here on stream and react to various commands and things. It's one guy doing the config, a group of freelancers doing the graphics. Yes. So I think this would be really cool to try out, but future, we'll figure that out. Squirrel! Hang on.
Do it!
Let's see about putting that together. I like that comment, Robert Tables. I was... So maybe you saw in the news there was a thing about... There were folks replying to a GitHub thread that literally targeted everybody in Microsoft who has a GitHub account. That's annoying. And I was getting those messages, and it was so annoying. So the question is, it'd be great to be able to build this using NPM and have it output. That's great. Let me look for that on a future stream here where I want to get to our back into the APIs and work on those. So we will work on this. Not yet, though. But tell you what, need a DevOps pipeline. We need to build and deploy an NPM package to NPM. All right. So we'll clean that up and let's see what we can get. I love reply all apocalypses. The replies are just so good. Some of them were, and others just made me say, "Are you kidding me? Why?" Checking how to convert PNT files to PNG. Those are MIME types, so should work. Oh, okay. All right. So the first set of unit tests that came through for our plugins, right? So we've been building the toolkit. Let's open the toolkit here. And you can see I was testing out Hugo's changes here. Let me... darn it. Go away. Let me go back to my branch, and I'm going to pull the upstream dev branch so I get all the changes that were merged into the shared project. I'm going to push this up to my local branch, my forked branch of the repository. There we go. Ancient Coder, take care. Have a good one. Of course, we'll probably raid from here over to our friend NoOpCat at the end. Yeah, people replying to all saying, stop replying to all. Ugh. Ugh. It just goes round and round and round. And then you feel bad about it. So, this could get interesting quick here. Right, so they're replying and going round and round and round, and then you feel And then because you'd replied,
Shame.
it just goes round and around.
Shame.
So that's a problem. All right, so I'm now downloaded, and so what's interesting is it's restarting the Stream Deck app even when it builds for unit tests. That could be interesting. NPM package on stream would be good with Carrie Payette or Derek Foreman, since they're currently the only contribs on that repo. That's not a bad idea. Watching Suze for about a year now. It was like 3 months ago before I realized it was NoOpCat and not NoopCat. It can go either way. It's I did a voiceover for her. Where did it go? Ah, here we go.
Previously on NoopCat. Previously on NoopCat.
Yeah. That was fun and easy, but I purposely did NoopCat. So. All right. So, let me back up here. So, the comment here from Simon is we need to refactor out some of the interactions with the WebSocket because that's going to make it harder to test. That's going to make it trickier to get in and test our project. So when we look at being able to test our not just our sample plugins, but to test to make sure that our library interacts with the Stream Deck properly, we need to refactor away the direct interaction with the WebSocket so we can stub in appropriate behaviors that come from the Stream Deck without having to build a whole server and interact with that directly. Roger, roger. You know what? There is a sound effect that might sound like I'm coming off of... Stop. We need to get some work done.
Do it live.
I'm doing it. We're getting there. So I'm not going to work on the plugin, our canonical plugin, or the template today, but I want to focus on the interaction between the library, and this is a .NET standard library, so it'll work on Windows, Mac, and Linux. We're focused on Windows and Mac, though, because that's where the Stream Deck is. And we're going to be able to write common C# code that works in both. And when this library gets included in a project, the appropriate APIs, this is what .NET Standard does, the appropriate APIs for that version of .NET Framework, whether it's .NET Framework that we're used to and know and love on Windows, .NET Core, or even Xamarin, will swap in the appropriate APIs. +1 vote for a squirrel command. All right. It dropped some issues there in the what's it called? Stream Tools repository, and we can get to work on that. Thankfully, Exchange Server has rules to stop that sort of stupidity. Yes. So in order to separate the base class that we use here for interacting with everything, close all but this, is what we've built and we call the connection manager. So when you're building a plugin, you're going to use the connection manager to connect appropriately out to the Stream Deck hardware. It manages that connection. Now, Connection Manager has actually become a little bit more than that, and it has all of the interactions that you use back and forth with the Stream Deck as well, not just the messaging. So what we need to do is we need to abstract out this bit right here for the WebSocket. We want to make this something private that we don't need to interact with. You recommend the one from Christmas Vacation. Attach that to the issue. Load that up. Let's see here. That squirrel. All right. So, what we need to do is if we pull out and we have something, I feel like I want to call this the WebSocket proxy or the Stream Deck proxy that's actually managing the messages decoding the messages coming back and forth from the Stream Deck. So let's start doing that. So I'm going to... oh, good. All right. So Karnak is up here, and you'll see my hotkeys that I hit down here in the corner. And I'm going to call this Stream Deck Proxy, and I'm going to start to move the client WebSocket interactions over here. And I'll extract an interface from this so that we have a common interface that we can swap in for our unit tests. A fake proxy that behaves and sends messages back exactly the way I want it. Off topic, if you have a Stream Deck, you want to see what we have so far packaged as a plugin. Not perfect. Here's a download of the plugin that, yes, there you go. Svava, hello. Yes, what mischief indeed. Oh, you know what? It just rebuilt the Stream Deck again and shut it down. And all my Stream Deck stuff closes. So I can't...
Wow.
Like that. Because every time I make a change, live unit testing kicks off the test explorer. I'm going to turn off live unit testing for right now, so it doesn't inadvertently close things over here.
Oh my.
And I can still play sound. I need a dev Stream Deck. Maybe. Okay. So I'm going to create this Stream Deck proxy. I'm going to make this internal. Internal. That's not how you spell internal. That is. And we're going to start to move some of these things over there. Tempted to abstract it to host proxy, iHost proxy, in case someone wants to make it for multiple platforms. Yeah, this is for the Stream Deck. So I do want to make it specific for this. But you could certainly take the code that we're going to write here and abstract it further. And this is all open source. Anybody is free and welcome to take this, modify it, and make it something cool for them. A bit like sawing off the branch of the tree you're sitting on. Well, maybe. You know what? No, I can't put these side by side. I'm not going to be able to see everything without it wrapping and looking hideous. So let's see here. Private static initialize and passing in a logger factory. Yeah. But we typically have this and we pass in logger factory equals null. And we're probably going to add... I'm going to start public interface. Yeah. iStream Deck proxy. Excuse me. And this will implement that interface. And I'm going to throw this over into another file, because I like to keep my files neat and tidy. There it is. We'll move you over here. So now my connection manager, in addition to receiving an iLogger factory, let's also receive an iStream Deck proxy. And yeah, we'll call it Stream Deck proxy. And we will, by default, say new Stream Deck proxy. Right? Oh, it needs to be a constant. We'll say equals null. Return initialize. So we're going to put up here. I'm going to put it right next to the client WebSocket so I know what to remove. iStream Deck proxy. And I'm not even going to new it up. Fix those tabs. All right. So there that is. So what I'm going to do right off the top is I'm going to say, oh shoot, I'm in the static. I'm not. Try return initialize. And initialize is private static, and it takes in a logger factory. All right, so I'm going to need to take in an iStream Deck proxy there. Stream Deck proxy. When I pass in here, any DI here? No, I do not want to use dependency injection. It's going to bloat it and make it... I don't want to use a container. We are doing a little bit of dependency injection here, though. I'm going to pass in Stream Deck proxy, and I'm going to use the null coalescing here. Null coalescing operator. This says if this thing is null, then we're going to give it a something else. And I'm going to give it a new Stream Deck proxy. So I force the default one into the mix. IOC without a DI container. Yeah, that's right. Someone seems to keep ignoring the editor config settings. I must break you. So, let's see here. So that'll come in. All right. So now I'm going to receive a Stream Deck proxy. And I will say here, all right, what the heck? New connection manager, register event info. Shouldn't I be able to say proxy there? Right? Oh, you know what? I need to do it like that. Equals Stream Deck proxy. There we go. All right, so now I've got that passed along. Yeah, we're using dependency injection, not inversion of control. So we don't have a container that we're using to pass this in. A container for one or two objects is a little overkill. It's a lot of logic that you're bringing in. And for something like this, where we want the plugin to be small and easily downloadable, I don't want to add all that overhead. Poor man's dependency injection. It's dependency injection without inversion of control. So, the editor config does not work in VS Code without an extension. Correct. Yes, yes. So, Google it for details. Not a problem, Lee. And some folks will get those things confused, and yeah. All right, let's. All right, so what we need to do is some of these things here around the socket state, we're going to need to move. Because here's where it starts to connect the socket and do the interactions. Okay? An initialize method usually feels wrong to me. It means the constructor is not doing everything needed. I don't want the constructor to do those things because I want you to know exactly when you're firing these things, because the connection to the device it's complicated, right? I want you to actually initialize and know that you're making the connection at that time. When you new it up, when you create a new connection manager, I want you to understand that you aren't actually connected yet. The initialize, this is where we're going to come through and do those things. And I want to make sure that it's separate from the constructor. So it's different from the two. And also gives me a way to do some validation here. And I need to pass in the command line arguments, parse all those and place them appropriately. So we haven't done anything with a proxy here yet. Still not doing anything here yet. But here's where the proxy starts being used, the socket, where we're going to need to use our proxy, right? We're going to connect, and we're going to send asynchronous information to say, here's my registration, and then we start receiving messages off of it. So is it really initialize or connect? Well, the initialize kicks off, defines the connection manager, gets the initial serialization information about, here's the information about the device that you're running on. And the actual start is where it does the connect. So this initialize with the information about the device is what I have up here in initialize. And then the connection happens down here during the run private loop that is going to happen to listen and interact. How would you plug in the dependencies through the properties? I'm not going to get. We'll look at renaming and moving things around a little bit here. But first thing I want to do is I want to get I want to build this proxy and I want to move the WebSocket out. So we have WebSocket state that we need to be able to return. So that's not bad. That's an enum. We can do that. So if I create a property here, WebSocket state, right, and that is just under state, and I want to be able to get that in my interface. So let's put a using statement there. So now we have the state, so that we can detect whether we're closed and whatnot here. Fine. We're going to need a method to connect and pass in a URI and a cancellation token. So let's put that. And am I returning anything from that? No. But it is going to need to be a task. Let's control dot. And we're going to need a URI. Sure, we'll make it URI. And we'll need a cancellation token. So we'll make these uber simple to start here. Yeah. Why do you need to call the initialize externally? You can. We'll get back to these things. I need to be able to send information, right, with a send async. Now, this we might be able to simplify a little bit, right? It's passing an array segment where it's taking some text and converting it into an array and outputting it. That feels, this feels like yak shaving, and we need to do this every time. And you see we do the same things here. Convert it into an array segment and pass it back and forth. I feel like these three methods here, we should move into our Stream Deck proxy so that we can make it properly just sending text over to our interface. Let interacting with the socket figure out converting it to an array, passing it back and forth. What do you think? And I realize I'm suddenly dropping into radio guy voice. Do you have a hotkey breakout of the parentheses in an IDE? What? There is a way to do it. I don't know it off the top of my head. But there is a hotkey to do that. Just turn off the voiceover. The voiceover. Here it comes. Coming at ya. What? The voiceover's turned off. Right? Right? The voice changer's turned off. Yeah, it's turned off. All right. Let me get back into this. So, I feel like we should take these three and move them into my proxy method over here.
Make it so.
Let's do it, Captain Picard. I'm going to copy these three. Yeah. Yeah. And come on, I copied. And I'm going to move them into here. Let's implement that interface. And we need the client proxy here. Right, so that is client WebSocket. Darren, thanks so much for that Twitch Prime sub. I really appreciate that. And you're going to get to use the .NET bot everywhere here on Twitch. And we'll make a donation to Black Girls Code this quarter. Thank you so much. Be careful, because every bit of logic we pull into the proxy is something that can't be unit tested, as we have simply moved the original problem, since the proxy has a dependency on the WebSocket client. Yes and no. We could test it with an integration test. Right? So doing a unit test where we want to test that the connection manager is properly interacting and managing the messages that we want to send back and forth. And we want to stub out what the Stream Deck is for a unit test. pretty good. For an integration test, we'll go a little bit further with that. All right. So I've copied and I moved our client WebSocket over here. I'm going to control dot some of these things because we will need them. Or get our using statements over here. Our state, instead of just doing a flat get here, I'm going to return socket. No. State. So now I've got the WebSocket state. Thanks so much for the free content I put out. It's really useful to me as a developer. Oh, Darren, thank you so much. I'm told that
People know me.
and I'm glad that you dropped by. Thank you, and please look forward to seeing you in the chat room and answering any questions you might have. We're always looking forward to helping folks out here and doing some work together. Using DI in .NET Core, which uses DI without a big container. Yeah. But let's make sure we're a little bit more family friendly here. I appreciate Brave Cobra for flagging the term there. But let's make sure we stay family friendly. I want to make sure that we that this isn't that this is a place that everybody knows we're friends. We're not cussing. We're not using any sex talk, anything like that. So, right, we don't want anybody to be offended or anything like that. But let's have fun together, right? We're all friends here. So, let's see here. Send Stream Deck event. This is where, and you know what? I think these just work over here. Get plugin registration bytes. I'm going to need to pass in these 2 bits of information. Which I think are just strings, right? These are just strings. So let's just create an argument for these. Register event, string for the UUID. And I can just change these. There we go. And you know what? These 3 just work. Fritz and family-friendly friends. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. You know what? I'm going to do something here I should have done a while ago. While I'm right here and looking. I'm going to promote Robert Tables to a moderator. Thank you, Robert Tables. You've been a pretty good insight here. I know you moderate on a couple other channels. Thank you so much. F4. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And I'm going to bump a VIP tag over to Hugo, who's been submitting some really great pull requests for us here. There we go. So we'll get Hugo a little diamond there. Very cool. Thank you so much, everybody. So, T4 templates, kind of. There's Rambling Geek. Yeah. All right. So we've moved these couple methods over. Let's see, what else do we need to do? So with those moved over, I'm going to comment them out. I'm actually going to... Auth0 Bobby. Oh, that's too quiet. I thought we turned that up. Where's the bits? Let me turn the bits back up. Let's get that louder. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Auth0 Bobby. Yes. Wow, and the Zivin. Thank you for that 4-month resub. I appreciate that, and we'll make donations to Black Girls Code for both Auth0 Bobby's cheer and Zivin's Twitch Prime subscription. Thank you so much, and let me get those in here real quick. Let's see. Cheer 100 from Auth0 Bobby on January 27. Oh my gosh, Carrie, thank you so much for that kind cheer. That's not. Very cool. Thank you so much for those cheers. And of course, we do a little bit of code graffiti here to recognize your support and let it stick around here on the stream. Testing the audio. Well, we need to get back to that. If you cheer I have a minimum set, and 1-bit cheers don't show up. we're going to need to figure out ways to consolidate the code graffiti and get that recognized. And I want to put a report out so that folks can see here's what great support folks have provided here. Aaron says, I don't have much practice with mocking and stubbing when it comes to tests. Do any of your open source projects have some examples you could point me towards? Aaron, that's what we're working on right now. So this should, I hope this shows a little bit of that. So, right, we're taking that resource here, we're moving it out, and then we will mock it in our unit tests, and you'll see what I mean here. So these three methods that are interacting with that unmanaged resource, the WebSocket, I'm going to comment out now. I'll delete them shortly, but I want to comment them out so it's non-destructive and I can roll back. And now I'm going to see, if you look in the gutter over here, it might be hard to see on some folks who might be watching on a phone, but folks who are watching on a big screen, like Ethan, you still out there, Ethan? Let me know, all right? You see the red in the scroll bar over here. These are where there's errors now, and I can scroll to them real quick, and I'll see exactly where it's not behaving properly. He is. Oh, fantastic. Auto fixture is your go-to, says Inzanet. Okay. And it is to prevent spamming. Yes. Yes, yes. Back on a switch. That's okay. You have fun out there, Ethan, all right? So connect async. This bit right here is connecting using our Stream Deck proxy. So what I should be able to do is I need to pass in the port and the token. So let's enhance that. So, hang on. The token is a cancellation token, but we need the port and the URI. I think we're okay with this. I think we're okay. So right now that doesn't do anything, and I'm going to leave it like that because I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to turn this around and say proxy connect async, and yeah, I'm going to do something like that, but I need these two arguments. Just pass them right back in there so the logic stays the same, right? Let's move that up a little bit. But now it's connecting out through the proxy. Makes it easy to jump to errors in a very long file, or is file zoomed in for streaming. Oh, check this out. I don't know if you've seen this, but you can, in Visual Studio, right-click here and select scroll bar options. Check this out. So I can use map mode. Not sure. Let's go wide. And now you can actually see what looks like the code, and I can mouse over and zoom directly in. Isn't that cool? So cool. Yeah. I think there's a similar feature available as a plugin for Visual Studio Code. Don't quote me on that, but this is in Visual Studio. This is a feature that comes by default in Visual Studio 2017, and I believe it's also there in Visual Studio 2019. Learn something new each time. Going to try and find time to get a suite of tests in this project. Fantastic, Simon. Yeah. So this is now going to redirect over to our proxy object, and we can mock out, and we'll be able to do that. Yeah, Hugo, I just dropped you a dime in there. Congratulations. In VS Code, it is built in. Fantastic. Oh, and it shows code coverage. I thought that was a plugin. We installed Coverlet with the project as well, and now you'll get code coverage over there. Yes. Now, the next method we have here is socket send async, and then we go get plugin registration bytes WebSocket message, blah, 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 blah. Stupid. Stupid, stupid. I don't want to do this. This is too much business logic for the socket happening here. What I'd like to do, and here's where I'm going to start to refactor, is I'm going to say await. I want to be able to say proxy dot. I've gone too far. Register. and I need to pass in the registration bytes. Well, we saw over here, registration bytes needs the register event and the UUID. So let's send those, right? Register event and the UUID. That feels a lot nicer than this syntax.
Thanks for the VS tip.
All right. Still not loud enough. We need to make that voiceover. No problem. I thought I made that voiceover louder. Did I not save the setting? Right, where is it? Bits message settings. Where is it?
This is a test bit alert.
That is not loud enough. We need more louder. No.
This is a test bit alert.
There we go. That's better. All right. Turn it up to 11. I can turn it up to 11. I can go even louder. Absolutely.
This is a test bit alert.
That's better. I think that works. All right. I wish I could reset the event log now because it's all full of junk. And I want to be able to see your events in there, not mine. Yeah, I can't clear it. Okay. Gonzo 2000, thank you for the follow. Oh, I can do that one. Hello, Cleveland. How's that? I would like to get involved with some of these projects as well. Been looking at CoreWiki and StreamTools. That's great, Aaron. Thank you so much for mentioning that. No pressure. You're always welcome to check in and contribute as much or as little as you'd like. But if you do contribute, let me refresh your name will pop up top there on our ticker, where we want to celebrate those folks who have contributed and shared some code, some of their time with our community. So you'll see up there, we haven't done anything with StreamTools this week, but this month, Mike Jolly and Codeman Codes, Dave Glick contributed some code to our Stream Deck tools. Some of the all-time contributors there, Oil Tank Vision, we didn't work on this week. But you'll see some folks like Brave Cobra that have helped out there. Even NoOpCat helped out there. And here's the toolkit. Hugo with the contribution, and there's Coding Bandit, Tops on the Month with Brady Gaster. Very cool stuff. So Latte Mote, I've seen a little bit about the roadmap, and there's a suggestion that I have that Robert Tables, when it happens, is going to significantly level up some of the widgets we have here on screen. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I'll talk to Latte Mote later about that. Anyways, all right, here we go. So now I've got my Connect Async. It's formatted properly here in my... I wasn't working on that one. I was working on the register. So it's down here, register event UUID. I have that interface. And I need to implement that over in my proxy. Let me close these up. I don't need to see the contents. I know what these things do. So I'm going to get rid of this. Connect Async should just return this. I don't want it to actually function asynchronously. I want to receive the appropriate information and do the await back in the connection manager. So that's good. I need to implement my register method now. Oh wait, I need to put Rambling Geek in here. That was another 100 from Rambling Geek. January 27, 2019. There we go. So I need to implement another method. Well, I can just Control dot, and it'll give me my next method, register. Let's move that up so it's next to my other public methods. I'm going to use Alt up and just scoot that up a little bit. There it is. That works in Visual Studio Code as well. Alt up and down, whatever code you have highlighted, or even the current line, it'll just move in the editor for you. You like the ticker, huh? Do I have a Visual Studio version preference, or do I just use the latest version? Asks Demonition? Let me know if I'm pronouncing that right. I prefer the latest. Part of that is because I do work on part of the Visual Studio team. So I want to test some of those features. I'm using, you can see in the top corner, this is a Visual Studio 2017 preview. We're going to roll over and start using the Visual Studio 2019 features here very, very soon. But I want to make sure that you see some of the preview features so that you can give us feedback that some of the Visual Studio team is actually watching. And they can get your feedback, they can see what works, what doesn't work. And when you say things like, hey, that scroll bar feature was really cool, they hear that and they absolutely appreciate it. But I would try to stay with the latest version. I agree with Auth0 Bobby. Unless you have a specific need for an older version, they try to make Visual Studio very, very backwards compatible. Do I know if there's an RTM date for 2019 announced yet? It has not been announced yet, Simon. But what I can tell you, what I can share, I don't think I'm stepping out by saying this. I have been asked to do a workshop for the Visual Studio release. There'll be more details coming on that, but I will be able to talk about, we're going to do a live coding, live stream it'll be on the Visual Studio channel because we're going to be talking about a Visual Studio launch. It'll be soon. It'll be in 2019, and we will do a workshop and answer questions, all that cool stuff there. The RTM date is, the stake has been planted. Here's when we're going to RTM. Now we got to get there, and if it moves, it moves. But because we do have a sense of what done is, and if we aren't done, it might move. But a live launch on a live stream, and maybe we'll even have live lunch on the live launch on the live. You know what I mean.
You can do it!
We can do all of it. So it's, every good project manager has dates they forecast when they want things to be released. John and our head of the developer division, Julia, have said this is when we want to release. And based on the feedback from the other project managers, the program managers, they've said, yes, we can hit that date. So they've put the stake in the ground, and unless something catastrophic happens in coding, we find a massive bug, that's what we're targeting, and we'll see what happens. A big red, that was easy button to release the bits. That would be fun. We might be able to do something like that here on stream. Live launch at build. I can't answer that, Johan. So a live launch with a live stream at a live launch. I agree. That's amazing. Done and good are typically not with important dev tooling. Yes, dates are very fungible. Related question, is the Visual Studio team landing on bringing Visual Studio to OS X, or are they going to invest in MonoDevelop to bring it up to parity? Well, MonoDevelop evolved into Xamarin Studio, which has evolved into Visual Studio for Mac. They've shuffled teams a little bit so that some of the folks who were on the Visual Studio team are now on the Visual Studio for Mac team, and they are working diligently to bring it up to parity. It's something that we are passionate about. We want to make sure it happens. And folks that are MVPs, you're going to hear a lot more about that at MVP Summit in March. And you'll hear a lot more about that over the next few months once we get feedback from MVPs and we look forward. Chance Maker Live, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. 5085, look at that. Woohoo! Phenomenal. Let's go through this a little bit more. So I created this register method here. Now, we want to take this thing and do that in there instead. So let's take this. And I'm going to move this over and just migrate and drop it in right here. So I don't want to await here. I want to return socket send async, but I'm not going to get registration bytes unless I have my register event. I'm going to control space and fix my capitalization and the UUID. So I'm doing the exact same thing, right? I've just moved it out and I've put a facade in front of this, right? This is what we were talking about. I think it was Aaron who was asking about. So, right, we're creating this facade that does the same thing, right? Nothing too complicated yet, but we've added and made this a little bit more generic. Now, I should mark these, right? So I can await these. They should be okay there like that. So socket state. So now we have get message as string token. Now get message as string, we remove that. So instead of, we should say proxy get message as string. Well, get message as string exists over here like this. I feel like that should be a public method. I have clipped squirrel. Is there a repo to pop it in? Put it in Stream Deck Tools. No. I'm sorry. Stream Tools. GitHub.com, C#Fritz, Stream Tools. This is why I didn't want to get into the PR last night. There's a lot of design decisions that could have taken a lot of backwards and forwards in GitHub comments. Good point. Good point. There you go. Thank you, Robert Tables, for sharing that. So I'm going to make this get message as string. I'm going to make this public. I'm going to nuke the async here. And I want to move this into I'm going to move this into our interface here. Get rid of the public. And throw a semi on the end. Good. So now we have an await in here we need to do. So I guess we do need to make this async. Yeah. All right. Right, you can't put async over here, can you? Is that okay in an interface? Yeah, you can't do it there. Yes, it is in the info panel for GitHub projects. Does the info panel probably doesn't have Stream Deck Tools in there, does it? I didn't wash the crap out of the beard yet, says or Dallas.
You're about to get a serious beatdown.
Mrs. C#Fritz said, you got to wash that crap out. And you could see it's faded significantly. I wanted to make this the last day that it was here, and you could see it. Its last cry for help. I really like the blue on this side. The purple is pretty well gone, but I think, and to be clear, the C#Fritz minors, my daughters, they looked at it and they said,
What'd you do?
It's not a full rainbow, Dad. It's only purple, yellow, and really almost an orange. And blue. What's with that? So I think, and they said, you need to do Roy G. Biv. Is that Hang Hell? Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. So we're throwing this next challenge out there. If we can hit 7,000 by build, which is in May, that's when it's been the last 3-4 years, so I can say that. We'll do the rainbow beard there. Chroma key problems. Yes, so we can't do full Roy G. Biv, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Because the green will disappear on the green screen. But we could do Roy Biv. So Ixnay on the Quiltoni body painting then. Oh, hang on, Robert Tables. Quiltoni was suggesting something for TwitchCon and 10,000. I haven't gotten quite there yet. All right? First things first. Let's get to 7,000. So if we do 7,000 before build, we'll make something happen. No excuse when they want to dye their hair crazy colors as teens do. They already have, Simon. Oh, they already have. All right. Let's go through this a little. Get message as string will return the message. And I like that we've encapsulated all the encoding crap over here. All right. So that's on over here. I feel like now, let me pull this down. If I go all the way up to the top, now I'm going to get rid of the socket and see where else this breaks. Come on, where's it? Go away. So you can see all the red here where we've got some issues here, right? Switch socket state. Not socket state now. Now it's proxy state. So when the proxy is one of these, it should stop. Quiltoni has some excellent suggestions in eat. Stop it, Brave Cobra. Come on now.
Inconceivable!
The red braids that Quiltoni has are not going to influence anything here, okay? The wife has already said she likes it that she can grab the beard and pull. Let me tell you how annoying that is. Used to work with a web graphics designer who had a purple mohawk. Looks epic. Not exactly office dress code, though. Exactly, right? As is, I'm going to have people I would have people at Build like, what's with the beard? So scrolling down, let's go down into this next section of red that are hiding here under Stream Deck methods. So here we go. Send Stream Deck event args. Now, this makes sense. Send Stream Deck event. This, I feel like we want to make public as well. Fairy Wings! Oh my gosh, thank you so much for that kind cheer. I appreciate that, and we're going to pop Fairy Wings up here. And there we go. And we're going to come back. We're going to do our basic HTML workshop here very, very soon. It's coming. Being led around by a Whole Foods by his chin hair. No, Auth0 Bobby. That's not going to happen. It's
illegal in 9 countries.
It's illegal in 9 countries. It's not going to happen. So. All right. All right, so if I made... We did get message. I don't care about this one, but send Stream Deck event. Let's grab this and put it over here. And I can get rid of the public statement on this, so, right? Because an interface is just it's a definition of the properties and methods on our object. We're not actually putting any construction behind it. All these things are implied to be public, and they're available for folks to interact with when they use and reference this. Rambling, it should say Rambling Geek instead of. Did I typo? Oop, you're right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Did I graffiti Fairy Wings? There we go. Oh, you know what? It should be a capital E there, shouldn't it? There we go. All right, so public send Stream Deck event. So now I can, let's save that, go back over to the manager. So this should be like that, and now that works. Scrolling down, we've got the same deal here. So copy, paste, paste. This is easy. And I've got one more red down here in disposable. So now it's not going to be socket disposed. We do need to dispose properly of the socket, which means Stream Deck proxy also needs to implement disposable. So we're chaining interfaces here. We're saying this needs to properly reference. Let's put that on the next line. Needs to also be disposable. So I need to control dot on this. Yeah, with the dispose pattern. So way down here, when you're disposing, you need to properly release all those resources. Disposed managed state, well, the proxy, the socket is an unmanaged resource. So free them and override a finalizer. All right. So this is going to be socket dispose. And we're going to need to uncomment that. So because the socket is unmanaged, we need to release it appropriately. Do you need disposable on the outer object now then? I think so. Because we also have a logger factory. So All right. Quincy NL, what's a good way to start learning C#? Gosh, there's lots of ways to start learning C#. There's some great tutorials from our friend Bob Tabor on Wintellect Now. That's a paid resource that you can go check out. Vitamin Jeff, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. And Q8 Rock, thank you for the follow. We are working on properly doing what's it called? A C# tutorial as part of documentation for .NET. It's coming soon. It's going to take a while, but it's part of our educational program here this year. Who owns the lifetime of the unmanaged resource, the framework code or the plugin author? Ooh, you're right. That login factory is being managed by the plugin author. That shouldn't be here. That should be disposed by the plugin author. I have a non-paid suggestion for learning C#. I want to check it is okay to say here. No, go ahead. That's fine. Don't forget a free month on Plural site with Visual Studio Dev Essentials. There you go. Jake from somewhere. Jake from somewhere. Welcome, Jake. I appreciate you joining us. And there we go. 5088 followers. Very cool. What unmanaged resources do we have here? The unmanaged resources that we're managing are going to be inside our proxy, which includes the socket that's in there that we need to dispose. Dev Chatter has a whole series of previous streams for learning C#. Yes, he does. You're more than welcome to check those out. But there will be official C# learning tutorials and lessons coming from Microsoft. There you go. Shout out for Dev Chatter. Absolutely. All right. So looking at Connection Manager, I deleted the reference to the socket, and it should just work now. It looks proper. So I'm going to delete that. If I run the tests now, this should come back and run properly. And then we'll move into our next step. We'll do some integration testing all the way down to the Stream Deck device. And if you see here, you can't see it, the rainbow beard thing, the Stream Deck app has closed. My one test ran properly, so it compiles, deploys, and runs. Proxy needs to implement the finalizer. Why do we need to implement it here? It's disposable, right? We want to implement the whole way up so that this gets disposed and properly disposes down. There you go. So now let's try running this and see if it properly attaches and we get the Stream Deck loading properly. So here comes the app. There it is. I'm attached. Good. Let's attach to our current instance. There we go. So now my debugger is attached. Source file is different when the module is built. It's different? Sure, go ahead, use it. Yeah. Oh boy. Hang on. Stop the press. It didn't deploy properly. Back up. Back up. Hang on. Back up. Something didn't deploy properly. It does slow down object destruction, not creation. Something didn't deploy this properly. Let's look at the output window. Let's take a look during the build process. Why didn't it show me what happened? Sample plugin. Rebuild. Show me some output here. Okay, sample plugin DLL. Yeah. Look at this. Resource exists. Yeah, I know. Right? It should have hammered that. Let's navigate to that folder. So here's the folder. It should have clobbered this folder and deployed. So I'm going to force the delete. And let's rebuild solution. No. Okay, so it tried to stop. It couldn't stop because it was already stopped. Can't stop it when it's already stopped. So that's fine, but it didn't restart either. I'm not restarting. I should have the latest changes. So, no, the source file is different than when the module is built. No. Hang on. Stop. Let's look at the CS project file. Yeah, we have the right changes. So when we build this project now, stop the press. What is that doing there? My multi-extruder is following us. Hey, multi-extruder, so good to see you. I was watching her stream last night, doing some really cool stuff with her 3D printers. You got to check out the 3D printers from My Multi-Extruder. Can we get a shout out for My Multi-Extruder? So she was doing some really neat stuff with it. You got to check it out. And she was also configuring her Stream Deck last night. Neat stuff. The only guaranteed solution is to quit all the EXEs, delete all the objects and bin folders, rebuild, and all be good in this full world. Take care, our Dallas. Good to see you. Make sure and can we get a shout out for our Dallas here? Yeah. And mind the PS looks as if it was commented out. All right, let's take a look. See here. Bin, debug, netcore app. You know what? It's in WinX64, and I think the PS1. No. Wait a sec. It copied it out here. There it is, sample plugin exe. So it should be there. I mean, it copied it. Wait a sec. It copied the wrong one, is what it did. Here. Right, because I have... Let's do this. Delete that. Keep going. Do it. Something else is open down in one of these chalupas. Yeah, that deleted in Win 10. Go away. Something's in that folder, but this one... Right? I'm not quite clear there. So this is WinX64. I think our PS1 is looking at Win 10 X64. Yeah. But you love. Okay. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So I think we just need to change that, and this should work. So let's open this so we can see that. And rebuild. WinX64. Script completed. Aha. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. So it should be restarting the Stream Deck. Right? Am I right? Where is it? It didn't restart. Why didn't it restart? Built. It's commented out in dev. What language is it? Asks Pasha. We're working in C# today. And that was PowerShell that we were looking at there. I'm going to force open this by just clicking on it. Yeah, I have a feeling I have a window. There it comes. Attach Stream Deck Toolkit. So we see that. All right, there we are. Now I'm at the right version of everything. Yep, here we go. These events, I don't need to trap those right now. Okay. Now if I go down under music, here's my counter button, and it works. So we've refactored out all the things to interact with the Stream Deck, right? To interact with this, to do the WebSockets. It's all been extracted out as an interface. So we don't need to reference it directly. Now we can start writing unit tests, and we can stub and mock what the Stream Deck does, how it responds in our unit tests, so that our unit tests can run without actually having the hardware or the app open. And that's a very good thing indeed. It's not just a clever name, it's also a language. There you go. All right, see how that works? Thanks for joining us, Pasha. Yeah, C#, it's terrific. It does a little bit of everything. Let's take a look. So we have a comment there from Lee. Right host script completed. Let's see here. And I think we're just about done for what I wanted to accomplish today. Go away there. I don't need to see these. Yeah, it's not relaunching right here. So if I get rid of that, right, that should relaunch it. So now if I'm going to do a rebuild, we should see this. Let me look at the output window. There it is, rebuilding, script completed. There it is, it relaunched, and now the debugger is available for me to attach. I'm not going to attach it this time, but I can click down into music. Oh no! Now it's not working. Why isn't it working? Why didn't it work? You'll get your code. Yeah, that's not working now. What did we do? Oh, you know what? It didn't. Hang on. The Stream Deck app is holding the process. There it goes. When that closes, this should end and exit. No. No. Ruined. I know. Cross-platform PowerShell Core as well. Yes. Yes. Right, we want to, it's like start process or something like that, right? It's like start process. And it should fork and start it. Right? Let's see what happens here. Restarting. Output. Now it restarted. Look at that. I'm not sure what these ones are doing. Cannot find a process. That was to get the process. Right, it wasn't running, so that's okay. Let me reattach the debugger. So now it's attached. Oh, you know what? It does the task delay if it's not attached. So it's not actually going to do anything. Right? This prevents it from actually... You need to actually attach in order for the sample to work. Yeah. So now it properly stops and behaves. Looks much, much better. So the last thing that I just wanted to show off here, so I'm going to save those changes, is down here in our tests. So now in our Connection Manager unit tests, right? So it does Connection Manager initialize with the command line args. I could write another test here, public void mock the, what is it? The Stream Deck proxy. Just to show that this works. There we go. Let's move that up just a bit. Do we have mock in here? It should be there. Cool. So proxy equals MOQ. I want to create a mock. Mock dot of iStreamDeck proxy. Right, so that just created a iStreamDeck proxy mock. And I should be able now to say connection manager dot initialize, and we're going to pass in some command line args, which are just a new string. And I should be able to pass in, I'm not going to pass in a logger factory. We could pass in like a console logger factory or something that logs out to our unit test framework. And then I want to be able to pass in my proxy. And this should now do something, right? This should now be a thing where it'll actually start testing some of these things, right? So if I run that, I should, it's going to error out, but it'll do something here. Right, there it is. It errored out because, let me move this over now that we're looking at tests. Command line args, this is the argument we expected, and that's what's being tested up here. So this is behaving properly, but it doesn't know how to initialize and start yet. It's being passed in the proxy, and now we can start to build on that. We can start to configure behaviors that we want the proxy to do by creating a mock up front that says, here's the proxy, here's what it's going to do. That is my expected behavior. So, what have we learned today? We've gone through, we've done a lot. Let's clean up what we've got here. And let's get ready to get you over to our next streamer today. So we're going to pause that music. Let's get over to that crazy Mario music. Yeah. All right, I'm actually going to roll back. I'm not going to include this inside my code that I commit. There we go. Make that a little bit quieter so we can hear. All right, so if I take a look here at the files that we changed, I definitely want to add source, Stream Deck, lib, not that one. Connection manager, yes. I want to add the iStream Deck proxy. I want to add the Stream Deck proxy. These are the things that I'm going to commit. I need to add an update to that PS1 file. Stream Deck plugin, and I'll tab complete, and it'll give me the whole shooting match. Right? Right. Stream Deck plugin. Why won't you give me the thing? It's not giving me the thing. You love the Windows 95 ta-da sound? Yeah. Do I ever use source control tools within Visual Studio? I sometimes do, Demonition, but I prefer to use the command line here because it makes me feel like an elite developer. There we go. My tab completion worked there. Let's move this over so you can see it a little bit easier. I'm not going to add the unit test update because that just kind of was lame. So now if we look at, those are the files I want to add. So let's commit those. Refactored to a proxy interface to address, and the issue that was opened by our friend Simon is 47. So I'm going to reference that here directly. To reference 47. It's going to prompt me here for my login. There we go. I will push that to my repository. Mario, we're almost done here. Give me just a second. We're pushing that up. This is now going to be in my forked version of the repository. And I will reset hard so I lose that. Let me go to mine. Nope, that's not where I wanted to be. Pull requests. I need a new pull request. Yes, right there. All right. Refactored to a proxy interface. Do it. And it's going to check and make sure that it can be merged. Fantastic. And now it's going to actually run DevOps, Azure DevOps, to make sure that the pipeline does build properly. And we can click through the details and we can actually watch it build if we'd like. Here it goes. I'll give it just a second here and take a look at the chat room. Parset, Elite Dev. That's right, I'm an elite developer. I've been doing this for a long, long time. Oops. Posh autocomplete is picky about type of slashes used. It is, and that's weird. I'll remember to enable my dad language filter next time I'm on. I'm glad I set my alarm to have coffee while you stream. It was great to finally catch. Great to see you, my multi-extruder. Thanks so much for joining. Smart idea. Add a proxy interface. It says Def Stream Ladder. More of a noob. I think you mean yourself. So removing all my project to Fritz and Friends. So I have a process of PR from my Fritz account. Some of them I am. Yes. Here comes the test. We should see the test complete here in a second. Why is it taking so long? Put. Should see that test running quickly. Build started. Here it comes. There you go. Test passed. The R1 test. And we'll add some more tests. If you're out there and you want to contribute, it's real easy to write some new unit tests and get them submitted into the pipeline so that we can verify that everything works properly. So I'll merge. And now everybody has that new update. All right. That was easy. That was exactly what I expected. Timed it out perfectly. Hit the post right here at 12:12. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to export today's video. It'll be available. It'll be archived and available on our YouTube channel a little bit later today. YouTube.com/C#Fritz. It's going to appear here after my name in just a second. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. Our good friend NoOpCat is starting right now. Spoon Daddy OBC, you're catching me right as we're heading out. Thanks so much for joining us. Simon, do me a favor. Drop me a quick note about that, and we will get that into the mix. I need a YouTube command. I do. Thanks so much, everybody. We're going to set up that raid over to NoOpCat. I'm sure she's working on something really, really cool over there. Make sure you hang out. You don't have to do anything if you haven't done a raid before with us. Stay right there. Sit right back. We're going to magically whisk you directly into her chat. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. I really appreciate. And we'll see you on Tuesday. We'll do some more construction around this. And I've got a plugin or two that I want to start building. And I think we're there where we can start building our first plugins using the toolkit. Alrighty. Take care, everybody. Say hi to Suze over there on the NoOpCat channel for me. And I'll catch you on Tuesday. Take care.